What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. We had to get the song right. We had to get the vibes going in this one, man. We got our guy LJ with us. We got our guy Crispy Captain as well. It's Saturday. We got 6 games. We're gonna go through them, man. But first, LJ, how you doing over there, my brother? Everything cool with you?
Doing great, my friend. Glad to thank you for having me back on this Saturday morning. Let's get this cash. Let's get these people some money.
Let's do it. Let's do it. What's up with you, Chris? Everything cool with you over there, my brother?
Yeah, sir, Jay. No complaints, man. Trying to finish off the second half of the season strong, like we talked about yesterday, man. Always grateful, honored to be doing the show. First show with my guy LJ, who always popping into my show as well. So I know my brother. And let's get some cash, Jay. I know it's straight to business, baby. Let's get to it. See if we can find some winners today, man.
Yeah, it's no
Good.
point in in talking all day. So I'm saying we might as well get straight to these games. Obviously, we got a game that's starting in an hour as well. And I'm sure people wanted some looks on in this one, man. So let's head over here straight to the streets of Detroit here, guys, where we have the Pistons getting 7.5 points. This line was at 6.5, 7 last night. Starting to get some money here coming in on the Raptors here. I even see a few eights out there, my guys. So total sitting at 229. We know the Pistons have won 6. There are 6-2 straight up and 8-0 against the spread last 8 versus the Raptors. LJ, do you think that matters today? You think the Pistons keep it going here? Would know that obviously Dwayne Casey used to coach. He got fired by the Raptors over there. What you looking at in this one, my brother?
I'm gonna get look first quarter, man. I like y'all know me, Chris know me, you know me. I don't really trust these full game spreads because the underdog could come back and cover outright win the game, which Detroit could possibly do today. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, taking that full game. The Pistons are 1-13 versus this division, so that's horrible. 3-12 at home versus the East, so I'm not expecting them to win the game, but I'm just gonna trust the first quarter where the Raptors are 11-4 straight up in the last 15 in the first quarter. They got a +4 first quarter point margin in their last 3 games. So I'm just gonna get in and get out, stick to the consistency of the Raptors been doing in the first quarter, and just get my money that way. These two teams have played 2 times, I believe, and the Raptors covered both first quarters in those 2 matchups. So I'm just going to trust that, get in and get out. Raptors first quarter -2 is my play.
Oh, okay, I know. I could not talk you off there. Yo, y'all know that LJ is the first quarter king in this one, man. You see what I'm saying? And the Pistons usually come out struggling as well, LJ. It's a good look, Chris. Do you agree with LJ's play? You have any look on this game?
Not anything as far as the side goes, Jay. Shout out to our guy Sam. I see him put it in the chat, and I was just about to mention that the Raptors do have a game against Cleveland. They've dominated
Mm.
Cleveland throughout the season, but they do have the Cavs on deck. We always talk about look ahead spots, Jay, and that's something that I try to quantify, especially when you get a conference game and it's a road game and it's against a lesser opponent, and then you got a
Mm-hmm.
real conference game, something that you're really looking forward to, right? The following day. So I try to quantify things like that and try to break it down and give it to the people. But the one thing about the Jay, you mentioned it already, and I'm gonna try to be quick. But Coach Casey dominates his old team. You mentioned Jay, he covered the last 8 times. That's
Mm-hmm.
dating all the way back to March 3rd, 2021. He's covered 8 times in a row. So if I think if I'm playing this game, I'm probably looking at I'm what I'm not doing is I'm not laying with the Raptors in this spot. That's what I'm not doing. The
Facts.
Raptors, I looked at the Raptors. They don't do well as road favorites. Just 3-6 straight up, 3-6 straight up. 1-7-1 against the spread this season as in games where they're road favorites. With 3 straight non-covers. Also, the Raptors 0-5 against the spread as a road favorite versus a team that has a 40% win percentage or less. So I'm not laying with them. I know that for sure, especially with the big game on deck for tomorrow against the Cavs. The Cavs gonna be
Mm-hmm.
fired up after getting smoked last night in Atlanta as well. So if I'm playing this game, Jay, I got a player prop that I really like. I capped this one
Okay.
last night, and I played it when it was plus 130. It's still 130 on some books, but I also saw it come down to 105. I want to talk a little bit about Mr. Jakob Pertl.
Mm.
Jakob Pertl double, Jay, is plus 130 right now. So on January 6th, when he was still a member of the Spurs, Pertl had 11 points in 32 minutes. 11 points in 32 minutes in Detroit. This will be his 5th game as a member of the Raptors, and he's seen an uptick in his minutes over the last 2 games. He played
Mm-hmm.
30 and 37 minutes against the Pelicans and against the Orlando Magic. 21 points and 18 rebounds. And then he had a game where he had 30 points and 9 rebounds. So back-to-back games with at least 11 shot attempts or more. Fred VanVleet's also not going to be there, so I see him stepping up from in the offensive role. and you look at the Pistons, how you want to attack them typically is on the in the paint. Pistons ranked 27th in rebounding the centers this season. Also, bottom 8 in opponent points allowed to centers on the season. The last few games, just them, looking at big men against them, Jay. Aiden just had 31 and 16. Zach Collins, 29 and 11. Jared Allen, 20 and 16. Robert Williams, 15 and 15. And Wendell Carter Jr. had a 14 and 14 game. So I like the Jakob Poeltl double-double. Like I said, you can still get it at plus money on some books. Also couldn't talk anybody off just putting his points plus rebounds. I think it's like 23 and a half, 24 and a half. I think Jakob Poeltl eats in this game, Jay.
Yeah, I like that. I like that double-double. Our guy Zach in the chat liking that Jakob Poeltl double-double as well. He's definitely been a focal point of their offense over there. So really liking what Poeltl's doing with the Raptors. Yeah, I agree with LJ's play. Looking at Raptors early, Pistons are usually slow starters. And then they kind of come on as the game goes on, as they start to get used to. And you got the Raptors as well. Might be trying to save some in the tank for the Cavs tomorrow. So I like both of those plays. Those are 2-0 right there. I'm going to ride with my guys. LJ on Raptors first quarter, minus the 2.5. And our guy Chris B. Kappen is like, he likes Jakob Poeltl double-double. Couldn't talk you off points and rebounds as well at knowing, guys. So over here to the streets of Charlotte here, guys. We got the Hornets here getting 5 points at the house versus the Miami Heat. Heat got smacked up last night, guys. Say what it is. They got smacked by 30. Obviously, it was the Bucks team. They're red hot. Giannis went out with 6 minutes ago. It didn't matter, man. The Heat, they just couldn't hit a three. And that one got outshot by 10 3-pointers. That's the game right there, 30 points, man. So I know I'm probably not betting none today, guys, but if I do have a top play in this game, it's going to be Heat first quarter, first half to get this one started off early. And I also wouldn't be a bit surprised if the Heat cast of halftime full time as well. I do expect them to come out here with emphasis. Also, PJ Washington did roll his ankle last night. He's listed game time decision with somewhat of a tanking team. I wouldn't expect PJ Washington to play in this one. So I want to look some type of way to back the Heat in this one, LJ. What do you think? You think the Hornets can keep it going, keep winning these games?
I wouldn't be surprised. The Heat are lackluster to me, up and down. But I just try to pick the spots where we catch people vulnerable. And this is a division game. Miami has played Hornets as well as of late, 7-1 straight up in their last 8. But that early on, 2-6 straight up in their last 8 in the first quarter, 4-8 ATS last 12 in the first half. So the Heat don't play well coming out in the first quarter, first half, and they're on the road, which they're 5-11 on the road versus the East. So I can't really trust them in this spot. As far as Charlotte, I'm never going to be able to trust them for the most part. 5-11 at home versus the East, 6-11 versus the division, and they're only 2-7 on the back-to-back. So I couldn't really find an advantage in this game. The Hornets are 4-1 straight up in their last 9 in the first half. So I wouldn't be surprised if they covered the first half, considering how the Heat are 4-8 ATS in their last 12. So that is a possibility, but I only can look at props in this game. And the PJ Washington over 1.5 threes, it's just something, a gift that just keeps on giving. He cashed it last night. I don't see why he won't cash it today. So we might as well just take that. In 6 out of his last 7, he's hit it. So PJ Washington over 1.5 threes. I wouldn't mind taking Lonzo Ball's threes as well, over 3.5, because he's hit 6 out of the last 8, and it's at plus 110 right now. So that may be a good look as well. He's averaging 25, 8, and 9 the last 9 games, so the PRA may be a look as well. But Jimmy Butler, I think I'm going to play him. He's averaging 26 and 4 versus the Hornets, and 25, 8, and 7 in the last 4 or 5 games versus the Hornets. 2+ steals, which I've said before, he's leading the league on the road, 2+ steals. So that will be one of my props right there. And I'm just going to take his points and rebounds because I think he's going to be the determining factor in winning this game because how well he does. And for us, the 3-point shooting, Miami allows 42% the opponents shoot from the 3-point line. Charlotte is shooting 44% from the 3-point line in their last 3 games. So just some things to look at in the game for as prop. But for as a side, Jay, I can't. I'm a pass.
Yeah, there's some great stats there, man, especially with those props as well, my guy. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if PJ Washington didn't play in this one, though. Hornets are playing on the back-to-back, 0-3-1 ATS last 4 games. At least the Heat are 3-1-1 ATS last 5 playing on the back-to-back here, Chris. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's hard to trust the Heat, but do we trust the Hornets in this game, or you like any props in this one, Chris?
So, Jay, so 2 quick things I want to mention. So first thing I want to mention is, for the Heat, especially on the second leg of a back-to-back, it don't matter if it's post All-Star break or not. And we gotta wait. I will wait to bet this one. No matter what you like, just because we know how Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley like to manipulate that injury report, right? But after getting smacked up like that last night, I think you got to come out with some pride. This is a classic J Money bounce back spot in my estimation, right?
That's a
It's
fact.
also a revenge game. I remember taking the under a few weeks ago, probably about a month and a half ago, on a Sunday in this game, and I gave it out to the people, and the under didn't cash because the Heat had a look-ahead game against the Cleveland Cavaliers that I didn't pay attention to. The next game was on a Monday, and they lost that game. So they lost that game, and it went over the total. I see a lot of people in the chat not really liking the Heat today, Jay. That's the only way I'd be able to look, kind of like what you just said, right?
Mhm.
So here go my breakdown for the game. He got smacked up last night. You talked about it already. None of the starters played more than 25 minutes in that game. Charlotte starters all played north of 30 minutes yesterday because they were actually in a competitive game where they had to, play that game all the way to the end because the Timberwolves did fight back in that one. You also mentioned PJ Washington, being, getting banged up. You roll that ankle, like you said, Jay, he's going to be a game time decision. I saw him limp off the court, Jay. It don't look like he was going to be playing in a meaningless game today, especially when you just got, Kelly Oubre back and Gordon Hayward's playing some of his best basketball. Look like of his career right now. This dude was balling last night.
Mhm.
Also, a couple trends, Jay, to kind of maybe you can get on this Heat with me because I think I'm gonna play them early too, Jay. At least since 2017, road favorites coming off a 20-point loss or more on the second leg of a back-to-back are 12-3 straight up, 11-3-1 against the spread, 78.6%. I think that's why we see the movement from the 4.5 that it opened up to the 5 with a 6-point
Mhm.
margin in the first quarter, Jay. When you lose by 20 plus points, because they almost lost by 30, you can't wait
Mhm.
to play another game. And I watched the post-game interview with Kevin Love, and he talked about, we'll just scrap this one. We'll throw it away. Eric Spoelstra said the same thing. Now you got to come out and get this one. So this season, Jay, that same trend, road favorites coming off a 20-point loss or more on the second leg of a back-to-back are 4-0 straight up, 3-0-1 against the spread. All of those games won by double digits except one of them. So that's the way I look, Jay. And then one more thing I want to mention on the Charlotte side, just a quick trend to kind of quantify the spot that they're in. So home dogs, which they are today, coming off a win as a road dog on the second leg of a back-to-back, so no rest involved, in which their
Mhm.
opponent is coming off a 20-point loss, 4-12 straight up, 4-12 against the spread, dating all the way back to 1997. Since 2015, just 1-3 straight up and against the spread. All that's just those are the trends. That's the spot that both of these teams are in. And it says that the later points with the Miami Heat and that they bounce back. But if I'm playing it, Jay, I'm probably playing them early, like you said. I think I saw the first quarter spread at -1.5. That would be the top look for me. I think with a 6-point margin being in the first trend that I gave you, I think the Heat probably want to come out here and smash them early. So
No, I'm
that
right
would be
there
my
with
top
you.
look in the game there.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think like I say, if I'm betting this game, I'm taking Heat first quarter -1.5, first half -2.5. I understand people not wanting to back the Heat, but sometimes you don't go away from a good idea, in my opinion. I still think the Hornets are a fade, in my opinion, even though they've won 3 straight. I don't think PJ Washington played, and that's all the more reason why they kind of just like, we don't really care about winning this game. I mean, you got the third worst record in the league. Why are you trying to win games right now? You see what I'm saying? So I mean, you can, I respect it, but you also got to think about your future as well. So and I also think the Heat full time gets there as well. You just need them to be up by 1 at the end of the first half, and you need them to be up by 1 at the end of the regulation, win the game in regulation. So those would be my plays on that game. Heat first quarter, first half, and Heat halftime, full time as well. Next game up, let's go over to the streets of Orlando here, LJ. We got the Magic laying 2.5 points at the house versus the Pacers in this one. Total sitting at 233. LJ, what you doing? You like Magic in the first quarter here?
I like them in the first half, J Money. Official play. Magic -1 first half. 11-3 straight up in their last 14 in the first half. They have a .4 first half margin in their last 3 games. Pacers -3 point differential in the first half, which is dead last. -9 in their last 3. So that was an easy cap for me. The Pacers, this is a division game as well. No, it's not a division game. They're in the Central. But the Pacers are 12-3 straight up in their last 15. Uh, versus the Magic, I believe. But I'm just gonna stick to the first half, get in and get out. That's what I do. No need for me to continue to talk about these two teams because they're below 500, and you know, I'm just gonna get my money where I can get it. So Magic first half -1.
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off. Yeah, I did want to find some type of way to hop on the Magic here. What do the Pacers do? They come out bad in the first quarter, right, Chris? And then they do try to make a push in that second quarter. It seems to happen every game. As the game goes on, the Pacers start to figure out their opponent and play a lot better as well, man. But problem is the Magic sit behind the Pacers here in the standings. So if the Magic are really trying to make that playoff push, you have to. This is somewhat of a must-win game for the Magic if you want any chance at making that play-in tournament. So I would like to lean towards the Magic here, but it's a tough game for me here, Chris. Obviously, the Pacers have not won a lot lately. They're only 2-8 straight up in their last 10 games. I believe they've lost 17 in their last 20 games as well, Chris. What you liking in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think LJ kind of hit the nail on the head, and I think you did too, Jay. I just don't feel confident enough to kind of back them, Jay. We talked about this yesterday, Jay, like trying to find these teams that we do want to back riding into the playoffs and the teams that we want to fade as well. I don't know what the Pacers want to do. I honestly don't know. I don't know what the Magic want to do. I honestly don't know that either. You talked about the record, Jay. I think, like you said, it's only a game that separates these teams. What I'm not doing, though, is backing the Pacers. 0-10 straight up, 2-8 against the Spurs since the start of 2013 in road games. That's what I'm not doing. I can't back a team that's 0-10 straight up on the road since the start of this calendar year. So I can't play the Pacers just based off that. Since 2020, road dogs coming off an overtime game with 1 day of rest or less, just 5-18 straight up, 9-13 against the spread. That's a 59% fade of the Pacers today. Those teams are winning by average of 9 points. So if you want to back the Magic, there goes some support for you there. But I don't really want to back them either because they kind of, are just kind of shell of themselves at times. They didn't cover the other day against the Pistons, I didn't lay the points with them, but they didn't cover and barely won that game by 2 points against the Pistons. They're only 5-4 straight up and against the spread since the start of this calendar year as a home team. With the record, playing a team that has a record that's better than them. So I don't feel comfortable laying the points with the Magic. I feel like this is anybody could win type of game, and it does seem like a winnable game for the Pacers, Jay, if they are going to be able to win a game. But I don't typically like playing teams that they're coming off an overtime game, especially when they got to travel after that. So no play for me, Jay. But I think the Magic got the right side in this one.
Yeah, if I'm playing this one, I'd go with Magic in the first quarter. I couldn't talk LJ off that Magic first half as well. I do think they're going to cover that first quarter or first half. It's just what I've been seeing. The Pacers usually fade. They usually come out cold every single night in the first quarter. Then they really make a push in that second quarter. So if I'm playing it, it's probably Magic in the first quarter, knowing, but I'm definitely staying away from that game, guys. Set over here to the streets of New York here, Madison Square Garden. We got the Knicks laying 3 points at the house versus the New Orleans Pelicans in this one. Total sitting at 224 in this one, LJ. Obviously, the Knicks are coming off of they're coming off that big win yesterday, so you could possibly see a little letdown spot here. And I also don't like the fact that because they had to come back down from 19 points in that one, so you have to do is you're almost having to play 2 games. You have to exert a lot of energy to come all the way back from that one, guys. And they have the Celtics on deck as well. I do worry, even though the Knicks are playing good ball and they're in good form. If you look and see who they play next, and the Celtics don't necessarily like this. Could be somewhat of a sandwich spot, especially facing a Western Conference team here. Slight lean to the Pelicans plus the 3. Obviously, their offense can go through droughts sometimes, but slight lean to the Pelicans plus a 3 full game here, LJ. Any looks on this? What you doing? You taking Knicks in the first quarter or something?
Nah, I couldn't get the Knicks simply because the reason you just said off of overtime win, that it was a lot of energy exerted in that. So I'm not going to trust them to come on a back to back. Pelicans, they on the rest advantage. So they could come in here and they'll get a win, versus the Knicks. So I'm not going to trust it. The Knicks are only 5-7 at home versus the West anyway. So that's a losing record. So, but the Pelicans are 5-11 on the road versus the East. So they're horrible. So I don't know who to trust right here. I was looking at some props too, Brunson, Randall, bro. I just got to the point of what you just said. They just came off that win last night. They had to exert a lot to come back out from that 17-point deficit, I believe they was down. So I'm just going to do a hard pass. If it was a lean, though, Jay, it would be first quarter -1 for the Knicks. But I can't make it official.
Yeah, it's a tough game. I must say, I could see this one going either way, but the Pelicans are tough to back sometimes, Chris. But if
Yeah.
you're looking at the spot, simply just the spot, you have to possibly look towards the underdog here with the rest advantage, Chris. But obviously, they're not the same on the road. How you looking at this game?
Same, Jay. I don't have a lot. I think LJ kind of laid it out beautifully, and what he didn't mention, you mentioned, Jay. So I'm not gonna talk too much on this game, man. I feel like the Pelicans should be a better version of themselves than they are, Jay. And nothing to take, not taking anything away from the Knicks, man. They balling, man. We talked about them yesterday, and wish I would have got there because I know you gave it out, Jay, yesterday with them. You talked about it on your night show, and then you talked about it again yesterday, and they were able to win that game yesterday against Washington. That typically folds in the second half, and I don't think I don't want to fade the Knicks, but I also don't want to fade the Pelicans because they do for a win. They do to come up. I think if I'm playing this game, Jay, what I have written down in my notes is that Brandon Ingram, looking at his points prop, he's 25 and a half right now, Jay. Dude been killing. 7 straight overs. So that's 100%. 7 straight overs, and he's attempted at least 20 shots in 5 of those 7 games as well. And to me, in a desperation type spot, you dying for a win on the road. I just feel like Brandon Ingram gonna come up big again. Also, he playing against his homeboy Josh Hart. We know that they play, together when they were on the Lakers, and I'm pretty sure he gonna, look forward to that matchup. So that's the way I would look in this game if I'm playing anything. I think BI has a big game in this one, Jay. I would take him over the 25 and a half points if I'm playing anything in this game.
And I don't know who's guarding him. Like, who's guarding B? I don't know. It's not Randall. You can't put Brandon Ingram's going out for 30 in his sleep in this one, Chris. I like that look in that one. And if he's taking 20 shots, the usage is going to be there. The volume is going to be there. I think Brandon Ingram gets there today simply on a matchup, and they have the rest advantage as well. So you probably won't see the Knicks top tier defense. Brandon Ingram's going for 30 in his sleep. I like that look, my brother. Let's go over here to the streets of Memphis here, man. We got the Grizzlies laying 2.5 points at the house versus the Nuggets in this one, man. The Nuggets do somewhat continue to be disrespected. They aren't the same team on the road. They are 15-14 on the road. I still feel like they could have lost that last game versus the Cavs, but we see the Cavs just get smoked yesterday versus the Hawks, right? So I want to lean Grizzlies. Probably not playing this one. I do feel like the Grizzlies have some matchup advantages where they could come in here and play this game tough. This is grind city here, and if the refs are kind of sort of on the Grizzlies side, letting them allowing them to play physical, they could really hurt the Nuggets. Because I still feel like going up against the tougher teams, the Nuggets are somewhat vulnerable. LJ, what do you think? You think Nuggets plus 2.5 is free money here?
Hey, man, it could be, but you know what I'm doing. I'm going to trust the best first half team at home, the Memphis Grizzlies, -1 first half, man. I mean, there's nothing left to be said, Jay. 28-1 ATS in the first half at home, plus 7 point margin first half at home. 6-2 straight up in their last 8, plus 10 last 3 first quarter point margin. I mean, when they come home, the Grizzlies turn up. And I don't know what it is. I guess it's just the home cooking, the home crowd, whatever the case may be. Memphis turns up. But this is Denver, the #1 team in the Western Conference. So I'm not saying that they just go come in here and smack this team up. But I just feel I can take advantage of it early. Denver is 29-11 versus the West, 11-8 on the road versus the West, 5-4 straight up in the last 9 in the first half. So I am taking a chance on Memphis covering that first half, even though Denver is still right there, top 5. But Denver's plus 6 first half point margin in the last 3 games as well. So, but I'm just gonna trust Memphis, 12-3 at home versus the West, 31-11 straight up in the last 14 in the first half. So I'm just gonna trust the numbers, man. I'm gonna go trust Ja. And, Jared Jackson, of course, always looking at his blocks. I don't make it official, but I always take his blocks just because he's leading the league. He is Defensive Player of the Year. You might as well continue to keep taking it. But, I'm not going to make it official. But those who know, they know to take that prop. But official, like a whistle, -1 first half Memphis.
I like it. Yeah, Triple J at the house, he gets a lot more blocks as well at the house for whatever reason. I don't really think it's the stats. I don't think it's the stats guy there. I think he really does turn up at the house, Chris. But I really like that. I kind of talked about that last night too, man. I'd lean Grizzlies. I was leaning Grizzlies first half and full game. So I like that you on that Grizzlies first half, LJ. Chris, what do you think? You think Grizzlies can come out here with some? We saw them come out with some versus Sixers. They end up losing that game though. But this the Nuggets here as well. I think the Nuggets have the Clippers on deck as well. So this is the first of a back-to-back for the Nuggets, Chris.
Yeah, Jay, I see it looked like a lot of smart people in the chat, man. I see somebody said they're not betting on the Grizzlies without Steven Adams. That's a check for me. And they said they're not betting against the Nuggets. That's a check for me. So this is a tough one, Jay. You look at the Grizzlies team, they're 5-0 straight up, 4-1 against the spread as a home favorite when they're playing a team that already beat them. So, revenging losses when when they're
Mm-hmm.
actually at home as a favorite, they do well in this spot. 4-1 to the over in that spot as well, Jay. They're also 3-1 straight up and against the spread as a home favorite when the total is 230 or higher this season when they're playing an opponent that has a winning record, but 3-1 to the under in that spot as well. You look at this Nuggets team, 9-4 to the over, as well as home as away dogs. So they I think they score more points than they're definitely giving up more points on the road, as well. 4-2 to the over are the Nuggets as well. I'm sorry, 4-2 straight up and 5-1 against the spread when they're facing a team as a road dog, Jay, that they've already beaten this season. So I think the Nuggets continue to get disrespected in that regard. When they go on the road and they're a dog, but they've already beat you in Denver, they do well in that spot. And they just beat you again. We saw that with the Cavs, just the other day as well. They are 5-1 to the over in that spot. So I guess everything that I'm saying, Jay, would lean towards the over in this game, more so than trying to pick a side. Really don't want to, try to fade this this Nuggets team. Jokic seems like he gets whatever it is that he wants, and I think that might be the best look. LJ, I'm kind of surprised you ain't mentioned Jokic, man. Dude gets whatever it is that he wants. I mean, he had Jared Allen on him the other day, still got the triple-double. If you playing anything, no Steven Adams down there. We know Jared Jackson Jr. is, prone to foul trouble. And I think IQ-wise, Jokic does everything with his IQ. He can't jump over, a loose leaf piece of paper, Jay, but he gets wherever he wants on the floor, right? He do whatever it is that he wants on the floor. So I would probably look towards his props there if I'm playing anything in this one, kind of staying off the side.
Yeah,
bro. One single sheet of paper, bro. Hey, Chris, funny. Cuz can't jump. He can't jump over the curve, man. You see what I'm saying? But now Jokic a baller. I mean, I know he gets the triple double damn near every night, guys. So this is a tough game for me. I'll be honest. I do think the Grizzlies can come in here and try to muck this game up. You got to do it with defense first against the Nuggets. You gotta have guys out there like Jaren Jackson Jr., Dylan Brooks. I'm talking about playing hard, hacking, all that, man. So it's all about if the refs gonna call. It's all about how the refs gonna call the game. If they letting the Grizzlies be physical, I think the Grizzlies will win this game and probably come out hot as well. Now, if they don't, the Nuggets obviously are the better team, guys. The better team doesn't always win, but obviously, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets got it done. It's a tough one for me. I agree with LJ there on the Grizzlies, at least coming out hot in the first half. I wanted to lean their way full game as well last night at 1.5. It's up to 2.5, so somebody's putting money on the Grizzlies. I do think there's a possible look ahead factor. Obviously, this is a Western Conference team, but you still got the Clippers on deck as well. So put a loop with a road home back-to-back. So always possibly saving some in the tank. It's a super tough game for me, guys. I must say, if the Nuggets do win this one, I feel like one of these games they're going to drop, in my opinion, versus between the Cavs game, which they could have easily dropped that one, did end up getting it done. It was more on the Cavs, though, in my opinion, pissing that one away late. You got this one, a road game. The Nuggets aren't that great on the road, but then they have a game tomorrow at the house versus the Clippers. I feel like maybe Nuggets tomorrow versus the Clippers, and they drop this one, man. So let's see what happens. I lean Grizzlies first half and full game with my guy LJ, and I know he on the first half. But yeah, couldn't talk you off Triple J blocks, couldn't talk you off Jokic. Triple double, and couldn't talk you off the over in the game as well. Two more games here, guys. Say over here to the streets of Philly here, LJ. We got the Sixers, Atlanta 1.5 at the house. We'll go to Chris first on this one. Chris, we got the Sixers getting that 1.5 at the house versus the Celtics. Celtics have owned them of late. The Sixers know it as well. Chris, do they finally get off the schneid in this one?
No, I don't think so, Jay. just quite simply put, man. The Sixers are a juggernaut at home, Jay. I've been talking about it a lot throughout the season. One of the best ATS teams, in the league at home, especially when they got Harden and Embiid in. But I don't think Harden's 100%, and I think you got to kind of take that into consideration. I got a little lucky the other day taking Philly -4 against the Grizzlies. The Celtics team's way better than that Grizzlies team, especially without Steven Adams. And, no matter what Philly does, they always going to be looked down to, in my opinion, Jay, by, this Boston Celtics team is like the little brother in the Eastern Conference. When we talk about the Celtics, they're upper echelon, Jay. And it doesn't, I'm not like, really afraid at all of backing them in these, really tight games. That's typically when they play their best basketball. We saw them, laying 8.5 points against the Pacers the other day in a game that went to overtime, and they almost lost that game outright. But you look at them in close games, Jay, 10-4 straight up, 11-3 against the spread in games where they're favored by 3 points or less. 7-3 straight up and 8-2 in conference games in that same spot as well, Jay. 11-3 to the under in those games as well. I like the under more than I like anything in this spot, especially with them going off overtime. We know that typically, teams don't score as many points in that following game. So if I'm playing anything, I'm probably looking more towards the under, Jay, but I'm not betting against the Celtics. I know you talk about your rules, Jay. I'm not betting against the Celtics. That's one of my rules. So that's the quick analysis in that one, Jay. So I would lean Celtics to cover the small number, but like I said, I more so like the total under. I think it's 227.
No, I'm right there with you, man. The Celtics. So it was just the last three. I feel like the Celtics had beaten them like 10 straight times or something, but it was actually crazy. It was just the last three. So it's probably even more important because it's how these teams are constructed right now. It doesn't really matter how they was built 4 or 5 years ago. That's when the Sixers actually owned the Celtics. They had won 5 of the last 6. So maybe the Celtics like, all right, it's our time to own your ass. I'm with you there, Chris. I could only look towards the Celtics in this game. I thought earlier this season that the Sixers could hang with them. Obviously, they've lost 2 times already to the Celtics this year, so you could argue double revenge, but the Celtics are just on a different level than the Sixers, in my opinion. Definitely the overall team, definitely the better coach team as well. LJ, we'd have to throw that in there. So I could only look Celtics in this one, but too close for me to bet. L Jizzle, what we doing in this one?
Yeah, I can talk you off the Celtics, but speaking of rules, Chris, I have a rule too versus the Celtics. I don't bet on them because every time I bet on them, they lose. If I don't bet on them, they win. So that's my rule. I don't bet no Celtics games, but I would lean towards them if I was to bet them because they are 8-1 in this division, 13-6 on the road versus the East. And I would lean first quarter, first half. They're 9-1 straight up in their last 10 in the first quarter, 8-4 straight up in the last 12 in the first half. And the Sixers, mind you, they're 4-8 ATS in their last 12 in the first half. So they tend to start off slow. And the Celtics, like y'all just said, different juggernaut. They're the number 1 team in the East. This is the team that you're trying to catch in the conference. So I just believe that Boston, they can match up with the Sixers as well. But the Sixers, they're 14-5 at home versus the East. So they are a good team at home, especially when they're facing adversity, because they usually come back in that fourth quarter and win these games. That's what they did the other night because Memphis was leading that whole game. And they came back and slipped one up and won that game in the fourth quarter. But y'all know me. I dissect games by quarters. I'm going to take advantage of the third quarter. The Celtics are 1-4 in their last 5 games in the third quarter straight up. The Sixers are 7-2 straight up in their last 9 in the third quarter. So that's going to be my play, Jay. Third quarter, pick them for the Sixers. But other than the side, I'm going to stay away because either one of these teams can win this game.
That's a fact right there. So those Sixers on the third quarter, right at the peak?
Yes.
LJ, I like it.
That's my play.
I couldn't talk you off there, man. Yeah, it's a great game. I'm gonna watch it. I think this is actually a good game to live bet as well, man. If you see somebody take a 7-8 point lead, it's probably good to take the dog. I do see this being a close game going down to the wire. And I'll be honest, lately I've been noticing sometimes live bets can be better. You do have to kind of have like a pathway, right? You got to see a pathway to one of these teams winning. And then if it's not working out so well, he's like, no, I still think they can get it done. Or you just see a team is cooked, right? So sometimes you have to watch these games, man. The live betting is sometimes the best bet, in my opinion. Last game up here, absolutely nothing for me. Jazz laying 9.5 at the house versus the Spurs. Jazz or nothing. Simple, Chris. What you liking in this one?
It's simple. I'm passing it right back to LJJ.
I'm passing it back. I don't want nothing to do with this game. I didn't even look at this game. I saw it on the schedule. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm done. Right after the Sixers Boston game, I'm done. I didn't even look at it, Jay. So I ain't got nothing for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jazz should smack them up. Do I want to lay 9.5 with the Jazz? Hell no, Chris. But obviously, fading the Spurs has been easy money. Couldn't talk you off just fading the Spurs every game, guys. Chris, any thoughts on that total? 241?
So I think in all seriousness, I think San Antonio is supposed to get a couple of their guys back. Jeremy Sohan is their better perimeter defender. Trey Jones also got upgraded to questionable in this game. He hasn't played recently. If those guys come back, Jay, I think I probably like the total to go probably a first half over and a second half under. We talked about this the other day, Jay. The Spurs, they just run out of gas late. So, even if they are keeping this one close, because, the spread, it did open at 10.5 and it's down to 9.5. So money is coming in, not any of mine, but money is coming in on the San Antonio team, Jay. Even if this one gets close, I do expect Utah to be able to, to win this one. I would probably, if I'm playing anything, I'm probably looking at Lauri Markkanen the San Antonio Spurs have I'm sorry, the San Antonio Spurs have no one that can guard him, not
Yeah.
even close.
Oh
And
yeah.
being at the crib, I think he's like 28 and a half.
Mhm.
He could go up for 35 points if he really wanted to in this game, Jay. Also saw, I think Kelly Olynyk is got downgraded to questionable in this one. So if he doesn't play, that's even more, incentive for a guy like Lauri Markkanen to get even more shots. Walker Kessler double might be in play. San
Hmm.
Antonio, especially since they traded
Easy.
Jakob Poeltl, teams are just
Yeah.
going flying over their team total every single time they play. The Dallas Mavericks just scored 100 and like 200 points in regulation against this team the other day. So that's the way I'd be looking. I think we still got to try and find ways to fade these bad teams. San Antonio, like you said, Jay, I don't think they've won in 2023 yet. Probably won't until after they get Victor Wembanyama later on in the offseason. So if I'm playing anything, Jay, I'm probably looking at Lauri Markkanen props, and I think you could always put a little sprinkle on the opposing team total to go over, because San Antonio is not trying to stop anybody.
That's a fact right there, man. Let's get up out of here. We've been on here 35 minutes. It's time to get to some free NBA picks, man. This is what we do. LJ, break the people off with your official picks, man. LJ be coming on here on Saturdays, cash and heavy for us. El Jizzle, keep it coming for us, man. What you got today?
Man, we got Raptors first quarter -2 over the Pistons. I passed on Miami and Charlotte. I got first half Magic -1 over the Pacers. I lean first quarter Knicks, but I'm not gonna get to the window. I'm just gonna let that money go. If it cash, it cash. I'll get it another time. But Memphis, that's my trilogy player today, right there.
Okay.
-1 first half. Are you telling me just to win the first half? -1. Memphis, that's where the spot they're at, people. I'm telling you. Memphis at home, first half. Trust the number. -1. That's just too low. Even if it is Denver, I just think it's too low. And the 76ers, third quarter, pick them. I think they're going to come out in that second half, even if they're down or, got the lead. That's where they play the best, especially at home. They come out in that third quarter and try to take the lead to take advantage of the game. So 76ers third quarter, pick them.
I like it. I like it. Chris, so LJ, just to recap one time, LJ is on one more time, LJ. I know Sixers third quarter. I know you on Grizzlies first
Knicks
half.
first half.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then Raptors first quarter, right?
yeah, I did Magic first half -1.
Magic. I knew I was forgetting one of them. Yeah. So Magic so 4 plays from my guy LJ. Chris, what you liking on tonight's card, my brother?
So game about to start, Jay. I think in a little bit about an hour. And definitely shop around, man, for the Jakob Poeltl. I talked about his double, Jay. I think points plus rebounds, I think absolutely in play as well, especially without Fred VanVleet being there. But I got his double not last night. I watched the end of that Kings and Clippers game last night, so I got it about 2:30 this morning Eastern time when I was capping it. But his double, Jakob Poeltl, is plus 130. I saw it on Bet365 this morning. It still was 130. Other books got it down about -105. So that's why I'm telling people to shop around for it. But I'm taking, I got a unit on Jakob Poeltl double in this spot today. Also looking at the Miami and Charlotte, Jay. I haven't put it in yet because I'm always honest with my people. I'm honest with your people as well, Jay. But I like Miami first quarter, man. I know it's an ugly pick. I like Miami to go in Charlotte and bounce back today and be winning at the end of the first quarter. So strong look lean there, Jay. Just hadn't got to the window with that one, minus the 1.5 for Miami in the first quarter. And then what else did I talk about? Oh, the Boston and Philly. Strong look towards Boston. Also like the under. The money's coming in on the under already. It opened at 227. It's down to 225. I still think it goes under. I see a playoff type atmosphere, especially with the Sixers having to exert so much energy in the fourth quarter to even come back and win that game, yet alone cover that spread against the Memphis Grizzlies the other day. And then on the opposite side, you get Boston, who had to go to overtime against the Pacers. That's setting up for an under type game, Jay. So I really like the under 225 in that game. And then like we talked about it, man, taking Utah team total just because they're playing against San Antonio without doing much research at all. It's always in play as well, but I haven't made that official. But so real quick recap, Jay. Official play for me, Jakob Poeltl double. And that's the only thing that I actually put in, JJ. Hopefully the information that I gave you guys helps. Real strong lean towards that Miami -1.5 in the first quarter, though, Jay. I like Miami a lot today.
Yeah, if I'm betting
Yeah.
something today, I hadn't bet anything, guys, but Heat first quarter -1.5, Heat first half -2.5, Heat halftime, full time -115, and they'll win. Don't be a bit surprised to see PJ Washington get ruled out in that one. I know Kelly Oubre came back yesterday as well, but in theory, come back from a little injury, he should be out today as well, man. But the Heat, everything. I'm listening to the post game interview as well, Chris, and every game is basically a must win for the Heat, man. That doesn't mean they're going to win every game, but the mentality is something that I'd go with as well, man. So that would be my plays today, man, but nothing official for me today, man. Our guy LJ, 4 official picks. My guy Chris as well with that Jakob Poeltl double-double. They're cashing today, man. I guarantee you that as well. And I still think the Heat are cashing, whether I'm on it official or not. But it's us against the bookies, man. Shout out to our guy Nasty Nate in the chat with the shout out to LJ with the shirt on, man. I don't even have my shirt on today, man. I had to put the OG shirt on today, my guys. But let's get some cash, man. Whatever you guys betting, I hope you guys have a great day, a great weekend, all that good stuff. Shout out to my guy Chris. Go follow him on Twitter, on YouTube, all that good stuff. At Chris B. Capping, 2 P's, 2 N's. And go make sure you guys follow LJ as well, man. He got a YouTube channel as well, doing his own thing. At LJ Sports Media. Go follow my guys on Twitter right now. We will win. Let's get some cash. We back tomorrow, maybe back on Monday for sure, man. Y'all know I try to go live every single day that I can. We out, man. Y'all have a good one, man. Let's get this cash.